This is Simon Romero for the New York Times. I covered Chavez from 2006 until 2011. Venezuela's leader rose from poverty to hold unrivaled influence. Chavez was a complicated man, intensely loved or hated in Venezuela.
And what is the mainstream telling Americans about Chavez and his passage?
Chavez, the president of Venezuela. Let me put it up on the screen and read it to you. This is from the president. At this challenging time of President Hugo Chavez's passing, the United States reaffirms its support for the Venezuelan people and its interest in developing a constructive relationship with the Venezuelan government. As Venezuela begins a new chapter in its history, the United States remains committed to policies that promote democratic principles, the rule of law, and respect for human rights.
I admit to possibly being naive and maybe expecting something a little more balanced than what was received, but the response from the mainstream media has been astounding. It has been revolting in many ways. It ranges from outright celebrations of Chavez's death, not only from the media but also from members of Congress in the United States, to the sort of liberal line, which is essentially Chavez was crazy, here are some crying Venezuelans, and we're going to interpret this as we want to see it. This is the sort of willful misinterpretation that is prevalent in the mainstream media these days.
A former soldier who led Venezuela's failed 1992 military coup.
Los objetivos que nos planteamos no fueron logrados en la ciudad capital.
Chavez was democratically elected in 1998.
Impulsaré las transformaciones democráticas necesarias.
Regardless of what we may individually think about Hugo Chavez, the reality is he was a massively popular political leader. He garnered nearly 10 million votes in popular elections, and he has garnered up to more than 60% of the popular vote in Venezuela. Someone who was able to generate a powerful, charismatic connection with the Venezuelan masses, not on a purely symbolic level, but also because of the material improvements that those masses have seen in their standard of living, in their ability to participate democratically in the Venezuelan political process.
Many poor Venezuelans adored him, feeling included in the political system for the first time. As his health faded beginning in 2011, Chavez traveled to Cuba for treatment.
Confirmaron la existencia de un tumor abscesado.
Nunca dejaré de servir al pueblo venezolano. Nunca, hasta el último día de mi vida.
So what will Venezuela look like without Hugo Chavez at the helm?
I'm not going to be there anymore, but there's going to be more. There's going to be new generations.
Large crowds have gathered in the Venezuelan capital Caracas as the body of Hugo Chavez is taken in a procession from the military hospital to the military academy. It'll lie in state there until Friday's funeral. The president lost his battle with cancer on Tuesday, aged 58. The news was announced by Vice President Nicolás Maduro, who's...
A las 4:25 de la tarde de hoy, 5 de marzo, ha fallecido el comandante presidente Hugo Chávez Frías. Luego de batallar duramente con una enfermedad durante casi 2 años, con el amor del pueblo, con las bendiciones de los pueblos y con la lealtad más absoluta de sus compañeros, compañeras de lucha y con el amor de todos sus familiares.
One of Chavez's friends was in tears. The Bolivian president, Evo Morales, one of a new generation of leftist politicians in Latin America who saw Chavez as a comrade and a mentor.
Chavez will continue to inspire the people fighting for their liberation. He'll always be present throughout the world, through all social sectors. Hugo Chavez will always be with us, After many years of being subjugated, dominated, and in particular the looting of our resources, these moments are very difficult. We share in the loss of Hugo Chavez Frías.
Por segunda noche consecutiva, agrupaciones de izquierda realizaron el miércoles un acto artístico frente a la Embajada de Venezuela en homenaje al fallecido mandatario Hugo Chávez, hasta donde llegó Camila Vallejo, exvocera del movimiento estudiantil chileno. Vallejo, quien fue una de las principales líderes de las movilizaciones estudiantiles del año 2011 en Chile, llegó al homenaje a Chávez, ahora en calidad de candidata a diputada del Partido Comunista.
Bueno, yo creo que muestra la gratitud que sentimos a todo lo que dejó, construido, levantado con mucha dignidad el comandante Hugo Chávez. O sea, yo creo que muestra que desde aquí, desde Chile, desde un país que tiene muchas dificultades, tiene muchos problemas, que no tiene un gobierno como quisiéramos, a pesar de eso los chilenos reconocemos el legado que ha dejado Hugo Chávez y creo que al menos desde la izquierda, de los sectores democráticos y progresistas, estamos más convencidos que nunca de que hay que seguir ese legado, porque es un legado que tiene que trascender las fronteras venezolanas, ya avanzó mucho.
Tokyo residents pay their respects to late Venezuelan leader Hugo Chavez.
Hugo Chavez was a leader who had a profound impact on the peoples of South and Central America. I came here to show my heartfelt respects, to offer my deepest condolences on his passing.
Leftist activists in the Philippines did the same, filing into the Venezuelan embassy in Manila. They lauded Chavez's pro-poor, anti-Western policies.
His lasting legacy is strong anti-U.S. imperialism in a world which is now dominated by U.S. imperialism.
Chavez's socialist policies won him the adoration of poor Venezuelans. The Venezuelan government has declared 7 days of mourning.
It was his friendship with Cuba's Fidel Castro that mattered most. Chavez saw in Castro a survivor and mentor, and Castro saw in Chavez a new type of leader who could help Cuba.
Estamos viendo detalles a propósito del homenaje en la provincia de Santiago de Cuba al presidente de la República Bolivariana de Venezuela, Hugo Rafael Chávez Frías. Este homenaje está encabezado por el general de ejército Raúl Castro Ruz, presidente de los consejos de Estado y de ministros, también presente Lázaro Espósito, primer secretario del partido en ese territorio, junto a dirigentes del partido y el gobierno en Santiago de Cuba. Estamos viendo detalles a propósito de este homenaje, un pueblo que le ha rendido homenaje, que le rinde homenaje al comandante presidente Hugo Rafael Chávez Frías. Siempre estará en la memoria de los hombres dignos de la humanidad, de cada uno de los pueblos de la América Latina. Su legado estará siempre presente y constituye faro y guía en el desarrollo de los procesos revolucionarios en la América Latina.
Ahí vemos al general de ejército Raúl Castro Ruz, presidente de nuestro país, que encabeza el homenaje en la provincia de Santiago de Cuba. Raúl contemplaba una foto de Chávez que, si podemos apreciar, evidentemente está en el cementerio Santa Ifigenia, el lugar donde descansan los restos de nuestro apóstol José Martí, y se ve al presidente Hugo Chávez enfrente de la bandera que está encima de la losa donde están los restos de nuestro apóstol.
Latin American heads of state were joined by other leaders from around the world as they attended the funeral service of Venezuela's charismatic and controversial president Hugo Chavez. In a ceremony marked by emotion, the eclectic mix of mourners paid their official respects.
Alex, was Chavez a revolutionary?
Oh, undeniably, yes. In the tradition of the great revolutionaries of Latin America, Simón Bolívar, José Martí, Che Guevara, he's going to be greatly missed, but his example is really stronger than ever. He really lives on in the hearts of many Latin Americans that seek much more profound change throughout the region.
Hugo Chavez promised the country a revolution, and he delivered one.
Ese es el objetivo fundamental de la revolución, la vida y la felicidad de todo un pueblo.
He had a televangelist's gift for oratory and aimed some of his most bitter attacks at Washington.
La pretensión hegemónica del imperialismo norteamericano pone en riesgo la supervivencia misma de la especie humana.
This man, with a visceral connection to the poor, seemed a messianic leader both in Venezuela and elsewhere in Latin America. His legacy remains memorialized in the murals that dot the many slums of Caracas.
Today, a day after his death, what is the state of Venezuela? What is his legacy?
Well, Chavez is someone who has transformed Venezuela forever. I mean, he's not only transformed Venezuela, he's changed the face of Latin America. He's opened the door to new movements emerging, the rebirthing, really, of leftism throughout the region, of movements fighting for social justice, of those grassroots movements coming to power, taking power. I mean, just look at Evo Morales in Bolivia, for example, a union organizer and a cocoa farmer whoever thought he would be president. Someone like Chavez himself, who came from poverty and sold candies on the street, you know, lived in a mud hut, rose to the highest levels of power in his country. So that it's sort of the example of the dream that he fought for throughout his life of bringing power into the hands of the people.